Let's talk about the Newbery Award. The Newbery Award is going to be the focus of our training session today. As with all training sessions, keep in mind that we are just going over the basics so that you can expand your understanding on these more later. Also, don't forget to pause this video at any time for notes or just to process the information a little bit. Our objective for this training session is to investigate the significance of the Newbery Medal, explore some of its most notable winners, and understand the impact of these books on children's literature. And we're going to keep this very simple today by basically just looking at 4 books in detail. The Newbery Medal is awarded annually by the American Library Association to the author of the most distinguished contribution to American literature for children that year, basically. This award was established all the way back in 1922, and it's one of the most prestigious awards in all of children's literature. So keep in mind that there is over a century of these books to look at, many of which are so popular that they went on to spawn TV shows, movie adaptations. These are frequently read as novel studies in classes all the way from elementary school through high school and sometimes even college. They're considered significant literary contributions. Thousands of people are going to read these. If you win the Newbery Medal, you're probably going to have your career firmly established there. People are going to want to read your books, and they're going to definitely consume the one that wins the award. Beyond just the Newbery Medal itself, there are also books that win the Newbery Honor. So if you see a gold medal on the front of a book that says Newbery Award, that's the one that was picked as the absolute best. If it's a Newbery Honor book, then it's probably going to have a little silver medal on it. And those are books that are sort of like runners up. They're often extremely fantastic too. Now, keep in mind that the Newbery Medal was named after John Newbery, an 18th century British bookseller who was known for his dedication to publishing books for children. If you go back far enough, there wasn't a ton of respect for children's literature. It was just sort of seen as something that was supposed to just be entertaining, and that was it. Basically, this is one of those things that help establish children's literature as something that is not just for like little kids. It's not just to entertain children. It's something that is actually deeper, that everybody can enjoy, that often covers kind of difficult topics or important topics. This award was originally created to encourage creative work in this field. It's one of those things that made children's literature what it is today. And in order to win this award, you kind of have to go through a gauntlet. There's a committee of librarians and literary experts that read this. They get a huge list of books, they read through them, they rate them. People that just read tons and tons of books decide, okay, this is the best children's literature book from this year. Now, let's briefly look at just the names of 3 Newbery Medal winning books, and then we'll discuss those individually in slides as we go through. The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate is one many of my students are familiar with. A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle and Island of the Blue Dolphins are seen as sort of classic Newbery winning books. The One and Only Ivan by Katherine Applegate won the award in 2013, so it's sort of a recent-ish winner, which is why it's so popular currently. This one is the story of Ivan, a silverback gorilla who's lived in captivity at the Exit 8 Big Top Mall and Video Arcade for 27 years. In the story, Ivan befriends a baby elephant named Ruby and promises to help her find a better life. In each of these Newbery Award-winning books, there's usually kind of like deeper themes that bring it all together. And this one explores themes of friendship, hope, and the moral implications of captivity and animal welfare. Is it okay to keep animals locked up for people to look at? It's one of those kind of deeper questions that you'll frequently get in these medal-winning books. This one is extremely impactful. There's popular movie adaptation of it that many people have seen. There's sequels to it that many enjoy. I think there's one actually coming out around the time of me recording this video. A Wrinkle in Time by Madeleine L'Engle is kind of one of more of those classic Newbery Medal winning books. It goes all the way back and was published in 1963, or won the award in 1963 later. And this is sort of a science fiction story. It has characters that embark on a journey through space and time to rescue a character named Meg's father from an evil force known as It. The themes of this novel are love, courage, and the battle between good and evil, which are sort of universal themes you'll see in a whole lot of adventure stories like this. It's had multiple adaptations too, including a 2018 film, and it continues to be one that students have read today. Your parents might have read this. Going back to the 60s, this has been a popular book. The same is true for the next book on our list, Island of the Blue Dolphins by Scott Odell. It won the Newbery Medal all the way back in 1961, and it is based on a true story. In this novel, it follows Kirana, a Native American girl who's left alone on an island off the California coast. She must survive using her wits and courage. If you've read books like Hatchet, survival stories, it covers some of the same things: survival, dealing with loneliness, and kind of the connection between people and nature. The book's been praised for having a strong, resourceful female protagonist, and that's something you'll see in a lot of Newbery Medal winning books, is that frequently the protagonists represent all kinds of different people. This one also kind of sparked an interest in Native American history and culture. It was an impactful book then and continues to be so now. Now, our last example that we're going to look at is actually not a Newbery Medal winning book. It is the sequel to one. Class Act is sort of a companion novel to a book called New Kid. If you've not heard of New Kid won the Newbery Medal in, I believe, 2020, although we'll double check that here in just a second, and it was the first graphic novel to actually win it. Now, graphic novels have come a long way. They sort of, like children's literature, weren't as respected until recently. Things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid that sort of propelled these books that had both text and pictures into absolute stratospheric levels of popularity. People looked at those and many others and were like, okay, there is a lot of merit to these. Students and people in general get a whole lot out of these books. And New Kid was kind of the first one to break through. New Kid, again, was the first graphic novel to win the Newbery Medal, and both these books sort of explore themes of race, friendship, and middle school life through the eyes of students. New Kid, in particular, sort of explores what it's like to be the new kid, which is something a whole lot of people can, basically everybody can relate to in some way. And I think that's why it was so popular, both as a book and as a Newbery Medal winning book too. It's inspired sequels like Class Act, and I believe there's a couple others. And now what I want to do is, now that we've looked at a recent example of a Newbery winner, actually a couple recent winners of the Newbery Medal and a couple older ones, I want to ask a question about them to kind of wrap things up. Class Act is a companion work to which book below, the first graphic novel to win the Newbery Medal? Is that A, Mercy Suarez Changes Gears, B, Hello Universe, C, The Crossover, or D, New Kid? Pause for a second if you need to. Feel free to go back if you want to double check that and answer that question. The correct answer, of course, was New Kid. New Kid was the first graphic novel to win the Newbery Medal, and it did do so in 2020. Mercy Suarez Changes Gears, Hello Universe, and The Crossover are also three fantastic Newbery Medal winning books. I actually can't vouch for Hello Universe. I've not read it yet, but I have read other stuff by Aaron and Trotta Kelly that I liked. The Crossover is a fantastic book by Kwame Alexander. It won in 2015. If you really like books involving sports, it's fantastic. It's also a pretty quick read. Mercy Suarez Changes Gears and New Kid are both very good if you kind of want a very realistic, somebody getting used to something new or dealing with middle school type problems books that I would highly encourage reading if you've not done so. Now, go ahead and stop there. We'll continue our discussion on the Newbery Medal at a later time. Thanks for watching.